I had no home to rely on, driving around in a passenger van, dreaming of when I'd ever begin to start my life. That's when I moved to the city to be on the stage, but the curtain had closed. You walked in the room, and that's when I knew that I was home, and my life will begin. Didn't believe it was true till I met somebody. I met somebody like you. Had no direction.
Hello. Good morning, Crossroads Church. It's great to see you all here. Welcome to those online as well. We are super excited about Easter, as you can see, in just a couple of weeks. So if you are willing and able, please stand and join us as we sing together.
Have you ever seen the wonder in the glimmer at first sight? As the eyes begin to open and the blindness meets the light. If you have souls, sing, I see the world in light. I see the world in wonder. I see the world in life, bursting in living color. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. Have you ever seen the wonder in the air of second light? And you come out of the waters, it's all we're left behind.
Welcome to Crossroads Church. Whether you're connecting online, in person, or on demand, thank you for making this time part of your week. If you are new to Crossroads, you might be asking yourself, what is this place all about? Well, it's pretty simple. Peace on earth. We are an open and affirming community of people committed to following the peacemaking path of Jesus. And this peacemaking path leads us to focus our work on rewriting what we call the 5 unacceptable truths. These unacceptable truths are 5 realities that hinder human flourishing and destroy peace on earth. Together, we work to replace spiritual emptiness with spiritual vitality, poverty with physical and financial flourishing, fear of the other with inclusion and affirmation, illiteracy with education and opportunity, and modern-day slavery with freedom. This is what we mean when we say, hope is here. Over the next hour, we will experience the divine mystery together as we sing a few songs, listen for wisdom, and share in communion so that we might leave here inspired and equipped to follow the peacemaking path of Jesus in our everyday, normal lives. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God.
I see the world your way, and I'm not afraid to follow. I see the world your way, and I'm not ashamed
awake
to
this
say
morning?
so.
Come on.
I see the Jesus way,
Here we go.
and I'm walking in the light.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
I see the world in light. I see the world in wonder. I see the world in life. It's bursting in living color. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. Oh, I see the world in grace. I see the world in gospel. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light, walking in the wonder. Oh, you're a wonder in the wild. You turn the wilderness to wonder. You have some say. I see the world in love. I see the world in freedom. I see the Jesus way. You're the wonder in the wild.
Come on. Don't go to sleep on me now. Thank you. It's good to see you again.
There's a radical love that is found in your life, and it's literally waiting for the chance to open your eyes. Yeah, there's a radical thought to open your mind, holding all of your doubt and fear, making space for the light. Feel the change as we pray. Oh, may the God of hope fill our hearts with a joy and peace. Let it be as we trust in love, living now in the overflow. What a living hope. May the God of grace fill our days and the Spirit lead. Let it be as we trust in love, living now
got this joy, 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 joy. Down in my heart, down
Sing
in
this
my
with
heart. Deepest joy, 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 joy. Down in my heart.
Yeah.
I've got this joy, 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 joy. Down in my heart, down in my heart. Oh, joy, 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 joy. Down in my heart. I've got this joy, 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 joy. Down in my heart, down in my heart. The deepest joy, 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 joy. Down in my heart. I've got this joy, 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 joy. Down in my heart, down in my heart. And may the God of hope fill our hearts with a joy and peace. Let it be as we trust in love, living now in the overflow. What a living hope. May the God of grace fill our days and the Spirit lead. Let it be as we trust in love, living now in the overflow. What a living hope.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Crossroads. You can go ahead and have a seat. My name is Luce Hartlip. My pronouns are they, them. And in my everyday normal life, I am an attorney, a step-parent, a spouse, a seminarian, and a bunch of other things. I have a few things to share with you this morning. As you came in today, you should have received a program. So if you didn't, please raise your hand and a room host will bring one by to you. If you're new here today, welcome. You will find a few things in that program that I want to point out to you. Everyone first go ahead and take that Connect card out or click on it if you're in the app in the weekend section. The Connect card is for everyone to fill out every week. If you're a regular attender, just put your name and your email address and check the box regular attender. If you're new here, please check that box new here and fill out as much information as you feel comfortable sharing. If this is your first time with us, this morning we do have a gift for you. It's a book called The God We Never Knew, and it is especially helpful if you're deconstructing ways of thinking about God that were handed to you that maybe are no longer helpful or no longer make sense. It's a wonderful book. So on your way out of the auditorium, you can grab a copy from one of the tables in the back, or better yet, come see me under the Fresh Perspective banner in the atrium and say hello, introduce yourself. We can discuss any questions that you might have about Crossroads. Well, last week, Ryan shared about our Good Friday service. So this year, Good Friday is on April 3rd, and it's a really special evening for the community to come together. The evening begins at 6 p.m. We'll have a shared meal at that time, and then the program itself will begin at 6:45. So the meal will be a variety of soup, salad, bread, and dessert, and we are looking for people who might be willing to prepare a dish to share. If you are willing and able to do that, please check the box on the back of your Connect card to let us know. So the program itself is a musical journey of deconstruction. And we feel like a lot of people in our community are somewhere on this journey. Whether you're actively deconstructing faith concepts that have done you harm, or you're simply wrestling with the state of the world and wondering how your faith fits into that, what your faith has to say about that. Our team has crafted a Good Friday program that really honors that journey and gives voice to the real and raw emotions that happen in the midst of that. And yes, we are saying that the program contains mature language. And to spoil the surprise for everyone, it is the F-bomb. So because of the mature programming, our kids program will run through 8th grade. And we need to get a head count for this event because there's a meal. And the Good Friday service is going to be ticketed. But the good news is tickets are free. When you check the tickets box on the back of your Connect card, we'll send you a link where you can tell us how many adults and how many kids you have coming. So please do take a minute to reserve your tickets. It's not the time to procrastinate. You want to make sure you get dessert. And while you grab your tickets, think about somebody that you might want to invite. If you're on Facebook, there's a super easy way to help spread the word. Just go to the Crossroads Facebook page, and you can click events and then click on Good Friday. And in the upper right-hand corner, you hit invite and send it to your friends. If you're on the computer doing this, it's even faster. You can click select all and invite up to 500 people at once. So we've got room. This simple step really helps get the word out, and you can use the exact same method to share the Easter event as well. So thank you for helping us invite the community to this special night. That's all I have for you right now. Go ahead and grab your talk notes, and Ryan will be up in just a moment.
Hey, good morning. Nice to look out, see a few new faces this morning. Some old faces. How many of you have a new face? How many of you have an old face? It's nice to see the Romeros here after their car accident a few weeks ago and surgery, so we're grateful you're here this morning. Wonderful. Some of you don't know it yet, but this is your last Sunday here. I'm going to say something that just puts you over the edge. Today is the day. No, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe, I don't know, but it is good to see everybody. My name is Ryan. If you're a guest this morning, online or in the room, welcome to a church that cares deeply for people who feel spiritually disconnected or disenfranchised or who might be deconstructing their faith. And it is my privilege to serve as the lead pastor here. And my pronouns, like I mentioned, are he, him. I'm a white, cisgendered, heterosexual man who has benefited from systems that have favored people like me. And as a follower of Jesus, I believe naming those privileges and leveraging them for others is the start of a life committed to the peacemaking path of Jesus and to justice, or what Jesus called the kingdom of heaven. Philippians chapter 2 tells us that Christ, the living Christ, who had every status imaginable, let go of it all and took the form of a servant. And that's the path that we are trying to walk here at Crossroads Church. So, whoever you are, however you've come into today, whether you are certain or skeptical, hopeful or hurting, you're welcome here. And I do hope that you will join us as we just attempt to walk the peacemaking path of Jesus together, which these days feels like sometimes I swerve off that path. It can be challenging, right? Let me ask you a question this morning as we're jumping into our topic. How many of you have ever had a moment when you've kind of gone through something and you realize nobody is coming to rescue me? Right? That like, wow, I am alone in this, right? You thought there was a system that was set up to kind of help you, and maybe that system failed. You had a timeline in place for your life, your career, and that timeline collapsed. Through no fault of your own, through circumstances that were out of your control, but you just felt all of a sudden very much like the next thing is going to be up to me. There's no help. I've thrown up the bat signal, and Batman is busy doing all kinds of other things. And you've experienced that moment where the next step, the very next step, is going to have to come from you. But the challenge with that is many of us have been taught that hope comes from waiting. that there's a passivity to hope. And we hear things like waiting for God, or waiting for healing, or waiting for circumstances to change, or my favorite, I'm just waiting for the right moment. But here's the thing, what we've experienced actually oftentimes, and what we kind of, if I can be a little blunt, that we hide behind those things. Why do we do that? Well, because when we go through life and we experience trauma, whether it's big T trauma or a whole series of little t traumas, whether we've experienced disappointment, pain, whatever happens, those experiences oftentimes steal our sense of agency. And when our sense of agency is stolen, sometimes it feels safer and it's easier to just say, well, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on that next. I'm waiting on just the right moment. And when life wounds us deep enough, we just have a tendency to stop believing that even if I take the next step, is it really going to matter? Have you ever felt like that? Like, can I really make a difference here in my life? Is it going to matter everything I try? And so we begin to live as if we're just kind of like stuck characters in somebody else's story. We're just supporting cast. Like it doesn't, and this is somebody else's story that I'm just kind of being drug along through. But for hope to take shape in our lives, there's something that we have to do that feels counterintuitive. Because sometimes when we don't believe that our next move matters, and it's in that moment when we don't believe that anything we do matters, where shame is screaming at us. We talked about this last week. Shame is saying, stay small, stay quiet, stay where you are, don't move. But for hope to take shape, hope whispers something very different. Hope says, I dare you. And that's what this song is all about. Check it out.
Welcome to the planet. Welcome to existence. Everyone's here. Everyone's here. Everybody's watching you now. Everybody waits for you now. What happens next? What happens next? I dare you to move. I dare you to move. I dare you to lift yourself up off the floor. I dare you to move. I dare you to move. Like today never happened. Today never happened before. Welcome to the fallout. Welcome to resistance. The tension is here. The tension is here. It's between who you are and who you could be. Between how it is and how it should be. Yeah, I dare you to move. I dare you to move. I dare you to lift yourself up
salvation is here. I dare you to move. I dare you to move. I dare you to lift yourself up on the floor. I dare you to move. I dare you to move. Like today never happened. Today never happened. Today never happened. Today never happened
But the problem is, in that moment where shame is screaming, stay quiet, stay still, the last thing we want to do is move. The last thing we want to do is look past what all the evidence tells us. When all the evidence tells us that what we say and what we do doesn't matter, that we're never going to get out of this circumstance, this situation, faith says you got to move forward. Because here's the thing, the most dangerous moment for despair in our lives, the most dangerous moment for shame in our lives is when we come to the realization, I still have choices. I still have choices. I still can choose to believe that this day hasn't happened before. That no matter what my heart wants to tell me, no matter what my experiences tell me, this is a new day. This is an opportunity that is in front of me that I haven't had before. There is a new door to try and kick through. And it's when we come to that space that I have a choice to make, to try, to press forward, to move, that hope can begin to take shape. And I want to look at a story we have in our scriptures today in Luke chapter 8 of a woman who had every reason to not move, had every reason to believe that it didn't matter what she did, how she thought, who she talked to, nothing was going to change. In Luke chapter 8, it says this, that there was a woman who had been suffering from a hemorrhage for 12 years, and that she had spent all she had on physicians, and no one could cure her. We see here, this woman models for us this idea of intersectionality of oppression. Right? That it's just one thing on top of the other. And to really understand the courage of this moment, to really get how hope took shape in this woman's life, we have to understand the world that she was living in. And that this woman was not just facing one hardship, that she was actually standing at the intersection of many in her life. She was a woman in a patriarchal society where women had very little social power. She was a woman with a chronic illness, which in her religious culture meant that she was ritually impure and had to stay away from the gathering of the community. And that meant that she was excluded from worship, community life, from normal touch, from normal belonging. Luke tells us that she had spent everything she had, literally everything she had, which wasn't much, trying to get better. And so by this point, not only was she sick, but she was poor. She had no more resources. So she's a woman. She's a sick woman. She's a poor and sick woman living in a culture where each of those identities carried its own form of marginalization. Today we have language for that. Scholars call it intersectionality. And it just simply means that sometimes people don't just suffer from one form of exclusion. Sometimes the burdens they stack on top of each other. Marginalization from gender, marginalization from health, differing abilities, economic vulnerability, religious exclusion, all those things intersecting into one life. And that means that this woman wasn't just suffering, physically. She was suffering socially, relationally, spiritually. She wasn't just sick. She'd been pushed to the edges by everything in her system. And that's what makes this story even more remarkable. Because hope didn't arrive when she asked for permission to move. Hope did not come because she said, well, within all of these systems that marginalize me, I need to wait for permission. No, hope begins when this woman who has been pushed to the margins decides to push back. No more. In that space, in that moment where she's lying on the floor, she has no hope, she decides, I'm going to push back. And the text tells us that she came up behind him. I love it. She snuck up on Jesus, put him in a chokehold. WWE, sleeper, laid Jesus out. That would be a better story, honestly. But no, it says that she came up behind him and she touched just the fringe of his clothes, and immediately her hemorrhage stopped. With the crowd pressing in, what does she do? She pushes harder. Sometimes we have this image of this timid woman who's just kind of like creeping through the crowd. She's like, get out of my way. The crowd is pressing in and she's pushing. And in her life where anxiety and despair and cultural and religious rules had kept her boxed in, she was touching and pushing and pressing and moving people out of the way. This woman did not wait for permission or an invitation. She crashed the party. There was no priest that invited her, come, my child, to Jesus. Jesus didn't invite her. Jesus didn't say, come to me, all women who are hemorrhaging, and I will give you rest. No, he's doing his thing. The disciples are like doing crowd control. The crowd didn't welcome her. No system created a pathway for her. But hope took shape the moment she decides, I will not stay where my suffering has left me. When she woke up that morning and she said, why the hell not? Let's go. Let's go. And she got herself up and she pushed through that crowd. And the woman here, she makes this risky, embodied choice. I love that she doesn't go into her little prayer closet. Oh man, see, I told you I was going to say something. Some of you are like, yeah, no, I'm out. Don't pull me out of my prayer closet, Ryan. What the heck? I've watched the movie. What was the name of that movie? I never saw it because I don't really watch Christian movies. What was it? The War. Oh my God, it's worse than I thought. You wonder why we have people in our, oh gosh. Sorry, Jesus. I'm going to go to my prayer closet. Nothing wrong with the prayer closet, but sometimes you got to come out of the closet. And sometimes it's not easy, right? And she does this. She's like, no, I'm pressing through, I'm moving through the crowd. And she reaches for Jesus' cloak. It's not a polite request, right? This isn't, well, I just got to get with Jesus and let him know my story. No, she's boundary crossing. She's courageously crossing the boundaries that her culture, that her religion, that her friends, that her family have all established for her. This is where you stay. Don't go any farther. And so what is she risking? She's risking public shame, religious rebuke, social humiliation, all the things that were part of her daily life. Every day she received that. And I love that she woke up that morning and was like, screw it. I'm going to experience it anyway. They're going to other me. They're going to push me to the margins. They're going to make me think I'm less than, so I may as well go after it. And because hope awakened in her body that morning, she moved towards healing. She said, I'm moving. I'm going for it. So she presses through the crowd. She reaches out, touches the cloak. She's healed. She's like, good, I'm out, right? I imagine like the touch, hey, look at that. And then she's leaving. Why wouldn't you, right? After years and years of being oppressed by this crowd, by these people, like just out. But Jesus stops and he asks this question, who touched me? And it says everybody denied it, probably her too. Everybody denied it. Peter says, come on, Master. Rabbi, what the heck? Come on. I thought you're smarter than this. The crowd, it surrounds you. It presses in on you. That tells you the scene that this woman has to press through. But Jesus said, no, somebody touched me because I noticed that power had gone out from me. Jesus says, somebody left their prayer closet. Somebody thought well enough to press through, to just get near me. And when the woman saw that she could not stay hidden, she came trembling. Courage always comes with trembling. If you're not trembling, you're not acting with courage. Do you know that? If you aren't shaken in your boots, then there's no courage involved. So she comes trembling, and she falls down before him, and she declares in the presence of all these people why she had touched him. Here's why I did it. And I've been healed now. And Jesus says, how dare you touch me? Now I'm unclean. Now I have to go through all the hoops. How dare you? No. Jesus says, daughter. And we have to, in a sense, recognize that this is such beautiful language for the time that it was in. This is not pejorative. It's not infantizing her. It's embracing her. Daughter. This one who had been excluded from every place that she was at. He says, daughter, your faith made you well. You chose to move. So go in peace. Go in wholeness. Go in fullness. And in that moment, Jesus, in his words, restores her voice and honors her agency. Restores her voice, honors her agency, and says, you have done this. You have made this happen. You've made it happen. When he stops, he says, who touched me? He knows that somebody has done something. It's not, I don't think the story wants us to imagine that Jesus doesn't know. I mean, the stories of Jesus want us to understand and see and think of Jesus in these superhuman terms, which I personally don't. But the stories are telling us that there was something so powerful about Jesus. That Jesus, in the way in which he moved in this world, reveals to us not what it means to be God, but to be human, to have faith, to live, to be what we call the incarnation of God, our best picture of what God looks like, to model for us. And the story wants us to always keep that in mind, that there was something about Jesus that was special. And so when Jesus says, who touched me, in the story, he's not asking it. In the parable, he's not asking it because he doesn't know, but because he knows that her story deserves to be told. That if the community is going to be changed, they need to hear her story. They need to know what they have done. They need to know that their oppression of her has been far more oppressive than the actual disease. See, the real healing that takes place here is not the curing of the hemorrhage, but it is the bringing back into community. It is the welcoming of the outsider. The one who has been pushed to the margins now is daughter, is brought back in. And so she comes forward and she's trembling, and Jesus speaks these words that restore not just her body, but her dignity. Daughter, your faith has healed you. And for the first time in 12 years, her voice comes back. Might have crackled a little bit, but her story is centered. Her belonging returns. Why? Because she got up that morning and said, today has never happened. Today has never happened, and so I'm going to go after it today. And here's what I don't want us to miss as we talk about how hope takes shape in our lives. Hope takes shape when you remember, when I remember that you can still move. You can still move. You can still pick yourself up. There are choices that are in front of you. And that word move is really around this idea of choice. You have choices to make this day, tomorrow, the next day. It's a new choice. It might feel like the same options, but it is a new choice. And there are new circumstances that we can't even experience. There are new mercies that day that we don't know that we'll unlock and we'll tap into. And hope is not passive waiting. Hope is reclaimed movement. When life comes and smacks you across the face, cuts your legs right out from under you, and you feel like that's it, hope says, no, I still have a choice. I can reclaim my movement. And the story is so radical again because Jesus doesn't scold her. He doesn't say, you should have asked first. Should have got permission. He doesn't say, well, you broke the rules. You cheated. Maybe I didn't want to heal you. You stole that from me. None of that. Instead, he honors her courage, affirms her agency. And this is an invitation for us into our everyday, normal, peacemaking lives to live with that intention, to move, to make the choice. Hope researcher, hope scientist, I believe there's a whole science on hope. And there's a hope researcher, his name is C.R. Snyder, and he was really the pioneer of hope research, and he discovered something really profound. And he said that hope is made up of three things. Goals, right? For hope to exist, you have to have goals. You have to have a vision for a better future. You have to be able to see pathways, right? Hope requires pathways, possible routes forward. So you can't just have a goal without any chance of getting there, right? That's not hope, that's a dream. Some of you are like, I'm going to be an astronaut, and you're 72 years old. I'm like, no, you're not. That's not hope, right? Be like, I'm going to become a doctor. I'm like, no, you're not, Ryan. You suck at biology. It's not happening, right? I mean, there is a difference between hope and dreams, and we need all of it. But hope that really empowers us, that gets us up, that gets us moving, right? Says you got to have a goal, you got to be able to see the pathway, and probably most importantly, because it's my topic this week, so I get to say it's the most important one, and Aisha and everybody else can say whatever is most important. Brooke can say hers is most important, but my topic is most important, right? Agency. You have to believe that you can move forward on those paths. You have to believe it. Without agency, the whole thing collapses in on itself. But here's the really fascinating part. Agency doesn't return through this big heroic act. Right? There is no like hero shot in your life where the music starts and you walk in slow motion. That's movie stuff, right? Like, there's never that. I mean, it'd be great if it was. But agency returns through small movements of control, small decisions, small risks, small steps. And each one of those, the research tells us, rebuilds the brain's hope pathways, the neural pathways that establish a sense of hope. That woman said, I'm going to wake up this morning. Somehow she heard Jesus was in town and decided, I'm going to go see. And then when she got there, she must have made some other choice to say, I'm going to get a little closer. And then something inside of her welled up and said, well, just maybe. And so she started pushing away. I'm really proud of myself for not pushing you. I like need an object to push out of the way, you know. But she says, but I got to get there. She takes these little steps to get to the cloak, to get to the garment, to touch it. So let me ask you this question this morning. What's the cloak that you need to touch? What's the cloak that you need to reach for? And that garment, that cloak may feel so far away. But at first you got to say, what is it? Where is it that you have a desire, a vision? And maybe you even kind of see a little bit of a pathway, but you just feel like it doesn't matter. And maybe hope takes shape for you right now through just a small choice. Maybe it's just making that appointment, sending the message, setting a boundary. The very next small step, signing up for that first class. I want to be here, but how do I go? We get so overwhelmed with all the things that have to take place, but you just got to take the next step. What's the very next thing? Is it a conversation? Is it a little bit of research? Is it going to your prayer closet? What is it? I don't know, you do. What's the very next thing that can start you into that space? Before the woman decided to reach out for Jesus' cloak and touch it, before she decided to leave the house, she just had to decide to get dressed. She had to choose to get out of bed. And when we make that first choice, when we make that first step, oh my gosh, we become better people. The world becomes a better place because we've just chosen to move with courage, because our courageous move leads to what? The next courageous move. The first one can be the most difficult. The first move can be the one that you feel is the most futile. Why even get out of bed today? I get it. But maybe that's just the first choice. But we know from history, we know from people that inspire us, that it's just one small courageous move that leads to the next courageous move. And sometimes it's not your next courageous move, it's that you've inspired somebody else to their next courageous move. In 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks made one courageous decision. She refused to give up her seat. It looked like just one small act, one woman, one seat, one quiet moment of resistance, but that decision triggered a chain reaction. And her arrest led to the Montgomery bus boycott, and that boycott lasted 381 days, and a young pastor named Martin Luther King Jr. emerged as a national leader for civil rights. And eventually, the Supreme Court ruled bus segregation unconstitutional. Why? Because one small decision that was really difficult. Small doesn't mean easy. And it reshaped the nation. Rosa Parks didn't know she was starting a movement. She hadn't laid out a 7-step plan of resistance. She just said, enough. I'm not going to continue to stay in this space. And so, I'm not going to move, which was an act of moving. No. And she simply made the next courageous choice that was available to her. James Clear, who's the author of the book Atomic Habits, tells us a story about a man who in his life, he wanted to get in shape, wanted to get healthier, but he felt overwhelmed by the idea of it. And he couldn't commit himself to going to an hour at the gym. He made one small rule. He said, I'm just going to go to the gym for 2 minutes. I'm just going to go for 2 minutes, and that's it. And so for the first week, he literally walked in, and he stood there for 2 minutes. And then he left. But that small action did something powerful psychologically. It reshaped. It rebuilt agency. And 2 minutes became 10 minutes, and 10 minutes became workouts, and workouts became a lifestyle, and his life changed. Not because of one heroic decision with the music in the background and the slow motion, but because of a tiny act that reopened the neural pathways of hope. I'm just going to go stand in there for 2 minutes and take a look around. I'm going to go look. See, sometimes healing doesn't begin with this grand miracle. Sometimes it begins with 2 minutes of courage. I've always loved what Navy Admiral William McRaven told graduates. He said, if you want to change the world, start by making your bed. Because when you make your bed, you've completed one task that leads to another task, and then another, and then another, and by the end of the day, you realize something powerful. He says you can move your life forward one decision at a time. And I love that he says, and if the day goes badly, you come home to a bed you made. Which reminds you, you can start again tomorrow. Because that day has never happened before. For hope to take shape in our lives, we have to move. We have to believe that it matters when everything around us says it doesn't. So, what is it that God's inviting you into today? As we move into a time of reflection and communion where we hold these elements, this juice and the bread, alcohol-free, gluten-free, as we hold these in our hands and as we consider the invitation that the life and the death and the resurrection and the teachings and the stories that people told about Jesus, what they invite us into today around hope as we hold them, what is God inviting you into today? Maybe it's to start small. To just explore a little bit more. Maybe it's to listen to, there's a great podcast episode called Building Atomic Habits from the Rethinking podcast with Adam Grant. If you'd like to listen to that, you can check the box. We'll send you a link, make it real easy, but maybe just listen to that this week. Maybe you're like, well, I can make a little more. Maybe you take a step to reclaim your agency and you choose one step you've been avoiding and you just take action this week. One step. Whatever it is, one thing. Maybe the invitation for you is to extend hope to someone else's, help someone else move. Maybe you need to be the one wearing the garment. Maybe you need to be the person who is in proximity that you can actually encourage, and your story can help and challenge, and you can listen and be present. Our song today during communion is the song we've done many, many times. And this song speaks to the real temptation that is to just sit in a space like this and feel the warm fuzzies. To go into our prayer closets and feel the presence and to feel that. And there's a temptation to just stay there. That we could just sit and we could be, and it's wonderful. But this thing that we call Christian faith, the way we understand it here, is a call to follow, a call to action, a call to move. And so we go and we follow as individuals, as a community, where there is opportunity to bring hope into darkness, whether it's our own lives or someone else's. So I love the lyric in this song that says, "You've called me higher, you've called me deeper, and I'll go where you lead me." And if you're like me and maybe those personal pronouns are a little challenging with God at times, I just sing, "Love has called me higher, love has called me deeper, and I will go where love leads me." That's the life I choose to live. And sometimes that's hard and difficult, and I fail miserably. I'd appreciate if you wouldn't talk to my wife or my children. But I'm just choosing. We got to just choose to get there. So if you're in the room today, if you're at home, I encourage you to just breathe a little bit over the next few moments. If you're able to, I want to invite you to stand, even if the communion elements are at your table this morning. I know it's kind of weird. You're like, but then I have to bend over, and I got a bad back. I get it. Maybe pick it up before you stand up, But I want to invite everybody to stand this morning because I do want to invite you to move. You get it? Okay. So we're gonna do like a little movement. We're gonna embody this today. So if you're at a table and you have your communion elements in front of you, when you're done receiving communion, I would encourage you to move over to our faux candles and to light a candle that represents that one next move that you're going to make. And let your movement today be a symbol. Let your movement today be a choice, a commitment that this week I will act. No matter how small it is, I will act. That you'll light that candle. So that's our invitation today. I want to see everybody moving. Otherwise, I'm going to re-preach this message. Slower, not nearly as funny. I'm going to bring in a whole lot of hell, fire. So it's your choice. This is a choose your own adventure moment, right? The body of Christ, broken for every person in this space. There is no class to take. There's no doctrine to believe in. There is only hope to be received in this moment. You're welcome to these elements that remind us of what radical love looks like when we lay down our lives, not only for our friends, but for our enemies. That's the invitation of Jesus. That's the difficult life of walking the peacemaking path. But it is a life worth living. So you're invited to the table today, the body of Christ broken for you, the blood of Christ shed for you.
I could just sit and wait for all your goodness, hope to feel your presence. And I could just stay right where I am and hope to feel you, hope to feel something again. I could hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. I could be safe, oh, I could be safe here in your arms and never leave home. Never let these walls down, but you have called me higher. You have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You have called me higher. You have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. Where you lead me. I could hold on. I could hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. I could be safe. Oh, I could be safe here in your arms and never leave. Never let these walls down, but you have called me higher. You have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You have called me higher. You have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. Where you lead me. You lead me. I will be yours, oh, I will be yours for all my life. I will be yours, oh, I will be yours for all my life. I will be yours, oh, I will be yours for all my life, so let your mercy. I will be yours, Lord, I will be yours for all my life, so let your mercy light the path before me. 'Cause you have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You lead me. You lead
That song really reminds me how tempting it is to stay in that comfortable, safe space. And how when I let those walls come down, when I let myself be led, that the miraculous really does become possible. So in just a minute, I'm going to call the room hosts around to collect your Connect cards, your donations, and your pens. And while you're getting that ready, I want to remind you that Easter weekend provides a lot of opportunities for you to get involved. Between the two services of Easter Sunday and the Good Friday service, we're looking to fill volunteer teams in the areas of kids, facilities, and hospitality. So I do want to invite Jimmy to come up and share what it might look like for you to volunteer for the hospitality team on Easter weekend.
Thank you, Luce. I appreciate it. Why don't everybody go ahead and sit down? I appreciate you standing for me, but really not necessary. So the great thing about Easter is we get to see a large influx of people come, and because we do an extra service, there's some extra opportunity to be able to serve on some volunteer teams. We like to do what we call Attend one, serve one. So there's an opportunity if you're a smiling face that you can be a greeter at one of the doors on one of the Easter services, or you can be a part of our auditorium host team. Now, we also are going to, on Easter, in between services, we have the big Easter egg hunt, and you'll hear more about that, but we also are going to serve a continental breakfast. So if you have some type of special breakfast recipe that you'd like to share with everybody, there's an opportunity to bring food for the Easter services. So on your Connect card, you'll see a lot of boxes for potentials for you to serve and to bring some food or bring a smile, whatever that looks like for you. So I hope you'll take a minute there, look, think to yourself, is this the year that maybe this is my church? I love being part of the peacemaking path here at Crossroads, and maybe I've been looking for a way to find an opportunity to give part of my time and talent. And this Easter is the perfect opportunity to jump into one of these teams and serve for the first time. Or maybe you've been serving for a while, but you want to tell us, hey, I'm going to serve at the 9 o'clock and then I'll go to the 11 o'clock service. So whatever that looks like, by all means, whether it's hospitality or food or kids or security, whatever that looks like, if you'll just do me a favor, look on the back of that Connect card, check whatever boxes apply to you, and we'll get a hold of you soon this week. So thanks, Luce.
Thanks, Jimmy. Be sure to check those boxes on the back of your cards. And now I'll ask those room hosts to come around, and we will get you out of here shortly.
All right, I want to invite you, if you're able to this morning, to stand before we give our blessing today. I just want to honor that our metaphor today is a bit ableist. And so I just want to recognize that movement doesn't come as easy for everyone. And so if you're in this space today, I just want to honor that and recognize that the metaphor sometimes falls apart and we can take for granted this idea of actual physical embodied movement. But we are talking about choice. And we're talking about that ability to make that next choice. And sometimes our language is imperfect when we attempt to do that. So if you'd like to lift your arms to receive our blessing today, may you remember that hope is not only something you wait for, it's something that takes shape when you choose, when you move. And may you find the courage of the woman who reached through the crowd, a courage not of certainty but of faith that one small movement can change a life. And may your hands remember they can still reach. And may your feet remember that they can still walk. And may your heart remember that healing often begins with a single movement. And as you choose and move towards hope, may the living Christ meet you in the crowd, restore your voice, call you beloved, and remind you that your story is never over. Amen. Have an awesome week, everyone.